Changes in the world have meant it's been a while since we raced. But with time comes adaptation, and after 13 months had passed, I found myself finally back on a start line.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, Harry here, and welcome to the first race, a 10k race, in over a year. We're back! The Jog on Top would have its first ever race number pinned to it.
Ow.
In the car, the father and I reminisced over the last time that we had been on the start line. His had been
a 10k at Exeter Racecourse.
How did that go?
Not very well, really.
I'm trying to recall if I've done any kind of race style since Eden Project.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I don't think you have.
a long road led us to the car park. The route for this race would be 3 1/3 laps of a long loop around the racecourse, a large expanse of lush green grass with a singular tarmac path running around the inside. It was only then that I noticed,
oh wow, they're in the middle of it right now. That's amazing. I saw those people running, and I thought a few people were just kind of warming up, and then I realised that was actually one of the races. It's quite surreal just seeing the bright yellow and black signs.
but incredibly refreshing to be in a race setting again.
Because Louise is saying off 5 minutes ahead of me, does that mean there's a pretty decent chance I'm going to see Louise lap me?
It's possible.
I'd have to be running a PB and you'd have to be having a really bad day.
Let's hope you now don't overtake me, because you just said that, so... Yep, alright.
We watched the lead runner of the earlier wave come through.
So the surface is a fairly firm concrete. There was a little while we wondered whether we were going to be running the actual horse course. Horses for courses. There's a bit of a decline coming down this corner, actually, which all makes me think that there's going to be an incline somewhere over there.
Which unfortunately was correct. There was an incline, and it was a long one.
So we found what I would call the straight from hell. This is a slow, steady incline right up towards the finish line, as Louise is demonstrating. Got a nice headwind as well. You can see people pushing here up into the wind. Kind of struggling, but not quite. Now it looks so fresh. So technically we're going to run up this point 4 times total, aren't we?
A quick change back at the car and we made our way to the starting area, where there would be a briefing before being set off. GB Louise was in the first wave of 2.
I love the positioning at the front, Louise. Good luck.
One man briefly went to propose, I said no, and I took my spot as the announcements began.
I'll start the countdown. 3, 2, 1, and you'll go on the siren. 3, 2, 1.
Well, Louise, nice and steady. Beautiful running. There we go.
Steve would not be running after a recent muscle complaint, but gazed longingly at the mass of runners streaking away to take on the 10k course. The Jog on Top came out. The second wave, which I would be joining, could be seen slowly approaching us.
This is it, a 10k at Exeter Racecourse. First race back in over a year.
Masked, we lined up.
Great, okay, just a couple of quick things. The route, nice and easy to follow. Approximately 1 kilometre through to the finish, and then 3 full laps.
Mask discarded, the watch zeroed. This was it.
Racing again.
3, 2, 1.
At the sound of the siren, we shot off the line. To finally be racing again felt remarkably exciting. 400 metres in, I was feeling controlled, and before I knew it, we had passed the 1k mark. I was running exactly 20-minute 5k pace.
Bang on 4-minute Ks at the moment, which feels okay. First hill coming up, and it's a long one down the back straight. 1.77 kilometres run, time 7:06.
Possibly a little too quick. For my predicted time for this 10k, I put down 41:25 and felt that anything sub 41:30 would be a good sign for my current form. Bouncing down towards the first uphill, we ticked off 2 kilometres.
Eased off just a little bit to around about a 4:15, just to save the legs a little on that hill.
The footage doesn't do it justice, but the incline, whilst not dramatically steep, was long. I found myself tucked in behind 2 men and one particularly fleet-footed female.
Take your mouth shut. Ever so slight downhill here. Great to be running a 10k under race conditions. 4-minute kilometre, then a 3:55 kilometre, and now a 4:09, so that hill had an impact. The big question is, post the 5k mark, how do the legs feel?
Following Gazelle Girl, we passed the race clock for the second time. I glanced to see if anyone from the first wave was in sight and hunting us down, but saw nothing, and just appreciated the moment. Halfway at 5k, produced a time that I was pleased with.
So went through the 5 kilometre mark in 2013. Not too shabby. Second time on the long hill.
The legs were beginning to burn.
First runner's coming through. Bye guys. Great running.
Most of those passing from the first wave at that moment
All the way.
would have been clocking somewhere in the very low 30 minutes at the finish line. Incredible running.
4:07 for the 6th kilometre.
Myself and bouncy 4-foot girl pushed on into an increasingly strong wind. Coming out of it, I still had enough energy to begin to increase the pace and dropped the 4-foot flyer. A couple of seconds of distorted music, and I engaged the man in front of me in conversation.
I'm just glad we were allowed to run without the mask on. That would have been fun.
He told me he'd been aiming for the 40, but was suffering with the unexpected inclines.
4:03 on that last kilometre. 2k to go and one last length of the big hill.
9k flew by.
Last kilometre was a 4:02, so back on track for something quicker than expected. Final bend, and then it's the horrible straight up to the top and through that 400-metre mark, which would be depressingly long, and then through the finish line.
The final straight was so windy it nearly took my cap off.
This is horrible.
As if the weather was delivering a final test, it pushed hard into my chest. Even the 400-metre sign was buckling in the gale. The time on the watch read
39:25.
another couple of seconds of music, and with camera etiquette out the window, I ran hard for the finish. I could see the clock getting close and I lurched for the line.
Come on, dude. Oh, I have 41 dead. I can see the clock at the end. I think it's ticking up towards 41, 40:52, 40:53, 40:51. Pushing and pushing, but 41:00 10k. 2:20:35k's, so fitness is really returning now. I could not have done that a few months ago. Big advantage, in case you're watching this and didn't know, I'm down 8 kilograms from what I was about 6 months ago.
As more participants ran into the finish, I went to check in with the family.
Hello.
Hello, boy.
41 on the dot. 41:00.
That's absolutely superb.
It was only then that I learnt that GB Louise, who had been on for a great time, had been forced to pull out at 8 kilometres after a stitch that she hadn't been able to shake.
Couldn't breathe.
Get rid of it.
Probably got in my own head.
Hello, guys.
Local athlete Andrew Place, paced by Scott Jameson, came cruising in, and I went to pick up a medal. To my surprise, the lady at the medal table was a big fan of the Jog On videos and podcast.
That was only 20 seconds off Exeter 10k when I ran that 40:40.
I know, on a windier course.
Winded hills.
No, you're in good shape. Good shape, both.
The Jog On top went away, and warming down, we reflected on our first 10k race in a long time.
Currently cooling down in the car park. Glorious day here at Exeter Racecourse, and absolutely brilliant. Went through the first 5k in 2013. I couldn't maintain that for the second 5k, but still things felt pretty good. This was Exeter Racecourse 10k. First race back after a long time. If you get a chance to race very soon, enjoy it. Make the most of it. I'm Harry Morgan, go for that run. And this is Jog On.
If you enjoy these videos and want to do one thing to help us out, please recommend us to a friend who might also enjoy what we produce.